Canadian researcher Christopher Charles was fed up. Now, Canadians are known to just be a tad bit more polite than us crazy Americans, but nonetheless, his feelings of frustration were well warranted. Because as himself and his team of researchers were hiking across Cambodia, they found that there was a disease that was running rampant upon the country. And not just was it upon the country of Cambodia, but also was afflicting 3.5 billion people worldwide. This disease is anemia. And so, as he was trying to figure out ways to treat this terrible disease, it was just so happens that Charles and his team of researchers came across something lucky. That is, a lucky ironfish. Now, this is no ordinary tuna or trout, but what a May 28, 2014 corporate social responsibility newswire states is a piece of iron that is molded and shaped to look like a lucky little ironfish that is native to Cambodia and is then put into the food and then cooked with the rest of it. And as someone who's done dozens of hours of research on this topic, I'm qualified today to speak to you on the Lucky Ironfish Project. So first, let's look at just the background of how this came to be. Second, let's mix in some applications of this lucky ironfish. Before finally, let's cook out some of the implications of what the lucky ironfish is, and as what Google called in 2013, one of the most innovative projects of the year. First, let's look at what a May 28, 2014 article in the CBC News calls a revelation. And this first started when Charles and his team of researchers visited the country of Cambodia. And not only did they see the devastating effects of anemia physically, but they saw these effects take place economically. According to that article, 44% of Cambodians were afflicted with anemia. That is more than 15 million people in their population. And in addition, this was causing $70 billion in lost GDP to the country of Cambodia, in part because of lack of productivity among workers. In addition, the rising cost of healthcare and the ability that it takes to treat that type of disease. And in addition, according to a November 27, 2011 article in the Toronto Star, Charles and his team of researchers also found that 60% of Cambodian women had side effects of anemia. And these side effects included facing premature labor, hemorrhaging during childbirth, and even poor brain development among children that were successfully born. And Charles and his team of researchers knew something had to change. But what was the answer? They knew that, unlike in first world countries, they knew that they could not treat this disease with red meat. That's because Cambodians live on less than $1 per day. And so what they decided is they decided to take a piece of iron and mold it in a shape that would allow people in Cambodia to cook it. But the question became, what shape would work? First up, Charles and his researchers decided to shape it like a circle. No success. Next, they decided to shape it the idea of a lotus flower. Still no success because the Cambodian women would not cook with it. Finally, Charles and his researchers thought, why not make it symbolic? And so what they did was they shaped it in the shape of a tricantrop. That is a fish that's believed to be lucky by the Cambodian people. Bingo. Not only did Cambodian women start cooking this throughout many of their dishes, they also started to give it to their neighbors, and they started to sell it across the country. And so, according to that previously cited CBC News article, they found that anemia dropped an amazing 43% in 1 year. In addition, villages that distributed this lucky ironfish most heavily saw anemia levels almost completely disappear. And so, Charles and his team of researchers were astounded at this success, and they asked an important question. If this was so successful in Cambodia, how successful could this be around the world? And so, now that we've seen just what the background is of this lucky ironfish, let's look at some of its applications to not just anemia, but to other factors. In 2013, the Lucky Ironfish Project won the prestigious Coming in Second Award, which was awarded by the Clinton Global Initiative University. And this is given by the Clinton Global Initiative University to projects that take ideas and change the world with them. And the Lucky Ironfish Project was able to do this because it has two very important applications. First, as a low-cost anemia treatment, and second, as an economic stimulator. First, according to a May 23, 2014 University of Guelph article, they state that the lucky ironfish provides 75% of the daily requirements of iron for people who cook with it. And what's so amazing is that even though you get so much iron from the lucky ironfish, it is so simple and easy to make. In essence, all it's made from is scrap metal that's applied to sterilized water and then is then cooked with the food. And according to Charles, he notes that because of the success and because of how simplistic it has many applications to across the world. And so Charles noted that his team of researchers could go to sub-Saharan Africa and change it to a different symbol of luck. In addition, this is also a great economic stimulator. According to a May 23, 2014 article in the University of Guelph, they note that the lucky ironfish is being sold across the country of Cambodia. And this selling of this lucky ironfish is not just providing profit for small businesses, but it's also reversed prior losses. And according to this article, the $70 billion in lost GDP in Cambodia has virtually disappeared and is actually being reversed by the economic stimulation that's being utilized through selling the lucky ironfish. And so, this lucky ironfish, once an idealistic little juvenile, has now become a tail-splashing success. So, now that we've cooked out some of the applications of the lucky ironfish, let's take a look at some of the implications that the lucky ironfish has not just in Cambodia, but around the world. Now, these implications are not as necessarily as altruistic as the philanthropic endeavor the lucky ironfish purports to be. And so two of these implications are first, cultural identity distortion, and second, dietary dependence. According to a May 21, 2014 article in ABC News Australia, they argued that it's so successful because people in Cambodia believe that it's actually the fish that's curing them of anemia. And although this cultural belief is excellent in spreading the use of the ironfish, it could potentially be manipulated by products that are less altruistic. For example, if an individual who decided they wanted to make a profit could create a product and then sell it to indigenous cultures by manipulating their cultural belief systems, they could easily make a lot of money because the individuals there don't have the knowledge to be able to check against that. And so, this could potentially open the door for other investors and other businessmen to come into indigenous cultures and manipulate these cultural belief systems for their own economic gain. And given the history of imperialism by Western cultures into East Asia and into Africa, this could potentially reverse many, many years of efforts to get rid of imperialism and have better relations between these countries. In addition, the lucky ironfish may cause some problems in terms of its mass production. According to a May 22, 2014 article in the Australia edition of the Australia Network News, they found that the lucky ironfish is safe to be digested because of the fact it's made with a special formulation of iron. Now, in the idea of a mass production, there is no guarantee that this special formulation of iron would be utilized, and that we may use types of iron that are not nearly as safe or as healthy. In addition, this also could lead to dietary dependence on iron. According to an August 13, 2012 article in the New York Times, they found that iron overload can cause potentially damaging effects to one's own body. Some of the effects could be diabetes, cardiac arrhythmias, and even liver cancer. And so even though the lucky ironfish may have such amazing applications, its implications need to be studied much more extensively. The lucky ironfish is an absolutely amazing product that was marketed to an entire generation of people. And so through today, where we've seen the background, the applications, and the implications of the lucky ironfish, we are amazed at what has become. And so reflecting back, Charles never envisioned that his simple idea could save the lives of potentially 3 billion people. However, when fishing for ideas to save lives, you just never know what you might catch.